Story 1. The Curse of the Devil's Leviathan. The moon hung low and pale in the night sky, casting eerie shadows across the rugged coastline. The salty breeze carried whispers of ancient tales, warning me of the impending darkness. My name is Samuel, and I am an old fisherman, living alone in a ramshackle cabin by the sea. Tonight I will share with you a story that still haunts my dreams. It was a night much like this one, when the sea was calm and the stars were hidden behind heavy clouds. I had ventured out alone, as I often did, in pursuit of the elusive catch that had been eluding me for weeks. The old-timers had always spoken of a monstrous fish, a creature of nightmares, lurking in the deep waters of the bay. They called it the Devil's Leviathan. As I cast my net into the inky abyss, I felt a chill crawl up my spine, as if an unseen presence was watching. The water rippled, and I dismissed it as a trick of the mind. But then it came again, a low, guttural growl that reverberated through the boat. Panic gripped me as I strained to see what lay beneath, and there it was, emerging from the depths like a ghostly spectre, a colossal fish, its scales gleaming like obsidian, its eyes as cold and dead as the abyss itself. Its mouth was filled with rows of razor-sharp teeth, and its finned tail thrashed about, sending waves crashing against my boat. The Devil's Leviathan had found me. I fumbled for my harpoon, my hands trembling with fear. The fish circled the boat, its malevolent gaze never leaving me. I knew that this was the creature the old-timers had warned me about, the one that had claimed the lives of countless fishermen over the years, but I was not ready to become another entry in its grisly ledger. With all the strength I could muster, I hurled the harpoon at the beast. It struck true, sinking deep into its side. The Leviathan howled in pain, a sound that sent shivers down my spine. But it did not retreat. Instead, it lunged at me with a speed and ferocity that defied nature. I barely had time to react. I leapt to the side as the Leviathan's massive jaws snapped shut, missing me by inches. The boat rocked violently and I struggled to maintain my balance. I knew that I had only one chance left. With trembling hands, I withdrew a stick of dynamite from my bag, lit the fuse, and hurled it at the beast. The explosion was deafening, a blinding burst of fire and smoke that engulfed the Leviathan. For a moment I thought I had vanquished the monster, but as the smoke cleared, I saw its colossal form rising from the water, scarred and battered but still very much alive. It fixed its empty gaze on me, one final time before disappearing into the depths, leaving behind a trail of blood and destruction. I knew then that I had survived a nightmarish encounter, one that no man should ever endure. The Devil's Leviathan had spared me, but I knew that it would return, for it was a vengeful and malevolent force, a creature of the deep that would haunt my dreams for the rest of my days. And so, here I sit, in my lonely cabin by the sea, haunted by the memory of that fateful night. I'm an old fisherman, forever scarred by the encounter with the Devil's Leviathan, a creature that lurks in the darkest corners of the ocean, waiting for its next victim to venture too close to the abyss. Beware, for the sea is a cruel and unforgiving mistress, and some horrors are best left undisturbed. Story 2. Echoes of the Old Mariner. The moon hung low in the night sky, casting a silver glow over the turbulent waters. My name is Elias, and I've spent my life as a fisherman in this remote village, haunted by a chilling tale that has passed down through generations, the legend of the Old Mariner. One stormy night I found myself huddled in the village tavern, seeking solace from the relentless rain and wind. The door creaked open and a figure emerged from the darkness. He was an old man, his face etched with the wrinkles of countless years at sea. His eyes were as deep and mysterious as the ocean itself. He began to speak in a voice that carried the weight of 1,000 storms. The Old Mariner, as he introduced himself, recounted a harrowing tale of a cursed voyage. He had been aboard the Seafarer's Delight, a vessel that had dared to venture farther into the uncharted waters than any before it. Their nets had brought up something unimaginable, an abomination from the depths. The creature, which they dubbed the Leviathan, was a grotesque amalgamation of fish and nightmare. Its eyes glowed with an eerie light, and its scales shimmered with an otherworldly beauty. But its maw was a nightmare, filled with rows of teeth that could tear through the stoutest ship. The Leviathan attacked with a fury that defied nature. It battered their vessel, sending men overboard one by one. The old mariner's voice quivered as he described the relentless onslaught, the feeling of despair as his fellow fishermen were dragged into the cold, unforgiving abyss. He alone had survived, clutching a piece of wreckage as the Leviathan disappeared beneath the waves. His purpose in returning to the village was clear: to warn us of the Leviathan's existence, a creature that hungered not only for fish, but for the very souls of those who dared challenge the mysteries of the deep. The legend of the old mariner spread through our village like wildfire. The elders forbade anyone from venturing too far from the safety of the coast, and a silent agreement fell upon us all: never utter the Leviathan's name, for it might summon the beast from its watery lair. Years passed, and the legend became a somber reminder, but curiosity has a way of drawing people toward the forbidden. A group of young fishermen, fueled by their own defiance, decided to test the legend to see if the Leviathan was more than just a terrifying story. They set sail on a moonless night, lanterns casting an eerie glow upon the dark waters. They ventured farther and farther into the very depths where the old mariner had encountered the Leviathan. And, as if in response to their challenge, the sea itself seemed to stir. The waters darkened, and a monstrous shadow emerged from the depths. The Leviathan had returned. The screams of the young fishermen pierced the night, echoing a grim reminder that some legends are born from chilling truths. The old mariner's warning had gone unheeded, and our village paid a heavy price. To this day, we remain a cautionary tale, a place where the legend of the old mariner lives on. We still fish the coastal waters, but dare not venture too far, for we know the Leviathan lurks below, waiting for those who dare to defy the unknown. Remember the story of our village, dear reader, for it is a first-hand account of the sea's darkest secrets and the cost of curiosity. Some legends are best left untouched, for they carry a curse that can haunt generations to come. Story 3, Echoes of the Haunted Isle. I awoke to a world of chaos. The tempestuous storm had tossed my little fishing boat like a child's toy, and now I found myself stranded on an eerie, fog-shrouded island. My name is William, and I am an old fisherman who has seen his fair share of storms. But this was unlike anything I had ever encountered. The island was a desolate, foreboding place. Its twisted trees gnarled and haunted-looking, their branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. A thick, ghostly fog clung to the ground, obscuring everything beyond a few feet. I shivered, both from the cold and an unshakable sense of dread that gripped me. As I ventured deeper into the island's heart, I began to hear faint whispers on the wind, indistinct voices that sent shivers down my spine. I couldn't make out the words, but they carried an unmistakable weight of sorrow and despair. I quickened my pace, trying to escape the unnerving sounds. Then I stumbled upon them. Figures, barely visible through the dense fog, their forms hazy and ethereal. They were the lost souls of this forsaken island, their faces contorted in eternal anguish. Their eyes, empty voids of sorrow, stared through me, and their translucent hands reached out, beckoning me closer. I tried to flee, but my legs were heavy, as if weighted down by the very souls of the damned. The ghosts whispered my name, their voices echoing in my mind like a haunting refrain. "William," they moaned, "join us, be free of your mortal chains." Panic surged through me as I struggled to break free of their spectral grip. With every ounce of willpower, I managed to tear myself away from their grasp and stumbled backward, gasping for breath. I fled deeper into the island, my heart pounding in my chest. As I journeyed further, the island seemed to twist and contort, its very landscape defying nature. Trees grew upside down, their gnarled roots reaching for the sky. Rocks floated inches above the ground, defying gravity. It was a nightmarish realm where the laws of the living no longer applied. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, as if the island itself were trying to draw me into its dark embrace. I felt the weight of my own mortality pressing down upon me, the fear of becoming one of those tormented souls driving me forward. Then I saw it, the source of the island's malevolent power, a massive ancient tree, its trunk twisted like a serpent, its branches dripping with spectral apparitions. It was a gateway to the afterlife, a conduit between the living and the dead. With all the strength I could muster, I approached the accursed tree. Its whispers grew deafening, a cacophony of sorrow and torment. I placed my hand upon its bark, feeling a surge of energy coursing through me. In that moment, I knew what I had to do. I closed my eyes and whispered a prayer, summoning all the courage within me. With a final, determined push, I severed the link between the tree and the island, breaking its hold on the lost souls. The fog lifted and the ghosts dissipated like morning mist. I awoke on the beach, the storm having finally subsided. My boat, battered but still afloat, bobbed in the calm waters. I had escaped the nightmarish island, but the memory of its haunting whispers would stay with me forever. As I sailed away, I couldn't help but wonder if the island was a place of punishment or a purgatory for those who had lost their way. One thing was certain. The sea held mysteries far beyond the realm of the living, and I was just a humble fisherman, forever changed by a nightmarish encounter with the supernatural.